Well, firstly, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. It's a huge thing to do to put on one of these events. I know, having done many of them before in the past, and I'd like to thank Denny and all the folks at OCDC and the Labour Council for helping out. And also, it's a great thing to be speaking near the end, because many of the salient points have already been spoken about, so I don't have to repeat them. So I can throw away half of this and get to the chase. As for myself, I have been a local president for a long time. At Quinny, I've been accused of being the longest serving local president, corrections president in the province. I really didn't start when the doors opened in '71. I was still in short pants at that time, and I wish I'd worn them today. However, I do have 28 years in as a CO, and I've recently been elected to be team chair of the corrections bargaining team. And we've got a terrific team put together this year. But the focus of today's event is new beginnings. And as we know, our institutions and the community are in a crisis mode. Overcrowding, understaffing, lack of training and security equipment, serious health and safety issues, and a more violent and explosive inmate population, and mental health issues. These are not new problems, just problems that have grown over the course of many years. Look back to 1989, when we had a crisis in corrections, and that crisis started in Hamilton, and it was these same issues. It was overcrowding, it was understaffing, it was staff being burnt out because of these issues. We're still fighting the same fight today. It's just a worse fight. It's got worse in so many areas. We continue to fight for a healthy and safe workplace for ourselves and for the offender population, because their living conditions are our working conditions, and it's always important that we remember that. Triple booking of inmates is unacceptable, and over the years it's grown to be the norm. To folks that don't work in institutions, you have to think about the confined spaces that these folks are being stuck in. Imagine locking yourself in the bathroom with two of your best friends and staying there for the entire weekend. You can come out for a half an hour a day, maybe if you're lucky, to have a shower and get a little bit of yard. Now picture that those two best friends are a murderer and a rapist, and they're really not your best friends. That's going to be a long weekend for you, and it is for these folks too. That just encourages the violence in the workplace. It drives it up, it drives it through the roof. We have predatory behaviors that are going on in there, we know it. Because we're understaffed, we can't supervise it, and that violence is coming back at us now. This didn't used to happen as much as it is now, in terms of staff assaults and in terms of serious inmate assaults. People are being stabbed, people are being cut, people are having feces thrown at them. These types of things just didn't happen before. My institution is one of the few institutions that was on the closure list that remains open to this day. That's Mike Harris's closure list. Many of those other institutions are gone or in the process of being shut down. But the net gain in bed space has not been there. We're suffering, and we're suffering in a big way, and I've gone way off the track on what I was saying anyway. We'll get back to it. On understaffing and the lack of training, they go hand in hand. A lack of available staffing to run the institutions lead to a lack of mandatory staff training. It's a vicious circle, and one that has gone on for years, leading to serious health and safety issues for staff, including the lack of supervision for the inmates. We're clearly dealing with an increasingly violent and volatile offender population who have no qualms about assaulting our corrections peace officers or each other. Times have changed, and we have an urgent change. We have an urgent need for change today in corrections. Mental health issues behind the walls. Again, this is a huge issue. Due to the closure of many of the mental health facilities, we're ending up with a bunch of these folks who just strictly don't belong in jail. And I can't think of any CO that you're going to talk to that's going to say, I've never said that person doesn't belong here in this facility. They belong somewhere else. We're criminalizing mental health, and it's simply wrong. It's simply wrong, and we're having to deal with these folks who can't fit in, and because we have no room, we're putting 3 of them together in a cell. It's inhumane, it's wrong, And we can't put up with it. We can't let it continue. Because again, their living place is our workplace and vice versa. Something has to be done. And again, our segregation areas are now being used as mental health units. We have folks down there who simply can't function anywhere else, so they end up confined in, say, 24 hours a day. It's not right. We know it's not right. And the ministry is doing nothing to address these issues. We need more mental health beds somewhere. We need to be able to treat these folks with respect and dignity, so we can in turn expect to be treated with that same respect and dignity. And finally, we've got a population of COs who are dealing with the fallout of this through stress, through burnout, and through PTSD. It's starting to be recognized now. In the old days, we always said, the old school was, you don't take it home with you. You don't talk about it. You don't let it get to you. And I think that whole thing is changing now. There's a new group of people here who are recognizing that we are suffering out there, that it's not normal. It's not normal to go home and have to get undressed in the garage because you've got feces and urine all over you. That is not the norm. It's not the norm to see somebody stabbed in the face and deal with them. It's not the norm to cut somebody down who may have assaulted you in the past and do CPR on them to try and save their life. That is not the norm. But it is the norm in what we do behind the walls. And we have to recognize that our people are suffering. They're suffering from PTSD at a huge rate, and akin to those folks that are coming back from overseas. And I don't mean this as any slight to our military, but we're suffering. And something needs to be addressed there for our folks to say, it is okay to say I'm stressed out. It is okay to say I'm burnt out. And it's proper that you should go and get help, because these conditions are taking a horrific toll on our people. Having said that, I think I'm going to close now and just thank everybody again for coming out. We've got a great MERT team. I think we've got a great bargaining team going in together, and together we can make the change. I know it can be done, but we're going to need all hands on deck. We're going to need everybody on board, and we're going to do it. I'm a great historian guy in terms of what's happened in corrections over the years. I think the history is very important. I think it's crucial to going into this new era, to remember what we've been through, and to remember that we're still fighting the same fight we were fighting 28 years ago. We've got to kick it up a notch. We've got to take it to them, and we've got to win. As corrections, we don't lose, and we can't lose. We can't afford to lose. So again, thank you everybody for coming out in solidarity.